A month since we've been able to utilize this wonderful Twitch channel with about 700 subscribers, but we have figured out an extremely incredible workaround. Special thanks to X427 and Burzy J for figuring this one out for me, because I am technologically a toddler. Anywho, we are here right outside of Amsterdam in the dunes of West Netherlands. Oh, as we are at the beautiful circuit of Zandvoort, and my name is Kiddenpetter, by the way, and I am joined by someone who's very excited to be here this evening, a noted big-time drug guy. Bodhad, how you feel about being here in the Netherlands?
It's nice to be in the Netherlands. Exciting track. It's a hell of a hot lap around here. Of course, being new to the calendar, it always makes things interesting, exciting to race around and then watch other people race around, particularly when they're very fast. Such as Speedster with the 108.4 as a banker.
Speedster going first.
Yeah, well,
that is ridiculous.
Yeah, but no, it's going to be a good race. It's going to be a good challenge. Really, really difficult circuit. You make a few mistakes, you're probably going to end up in a fence or facing the wrong way at the very least. Really punished.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a little bit more of a driver circuit, I'd say. It's very gotta get in tune with the track. Can't really make a whole lot of overtakes around here. It's a lot like Hungary last week, where it's kind of something where you're racing the track more than each other, but it is very easy to get it wrong. I believe Lopez set a purple sector one. Not sure where he's going to come out here, as the other times are starting to come in, but I think Speeds is going to get it in this first round. That is 109.3. So Slater coming back. He was here last week, filling in Haas from EU1 in P2. Fenrique comes out in P3. KD P5. Swarner P6. Perry P7. I think Alp is about to cross the line. Alp won last week. Didn't finish first on track, but E1 fill-in. Calzo did, but with penalties, he was able to get it, and Alp will put that McLaren into P2. Gonna be fun. Yeah. Yeah, we got some real hot lappers out here on the prowl. I think Burzy is gonna be coming across pretty soon.
Nicholas coming around as well, around the banked corner. New to Zandvoort, built pretty much for F1. He's doing the quickest.
That's goodness gracious, that's very fast on the first try. I thought Speeds would probably be the max at first, but yeah, well done. Getting Twitch pulled up. Sorry guys, it's been about a month since I've been able to do this. I will get to the comments in short notice.
Yeah, not used to having a Twitch stream next to us, but it is good to be back on Twitch, where primarily our streams are.
Yeah, where we have about 500 more subscribers, which, you know, you don't have to be Zach Brown to tell you. You know, that's probably want to be broadcasting there.
Yes, probably.
Hey, Robbo, we have. I'm not sure if you're perusing the Discords. Have you gotten any more news? I think right before we went on, saw something about possible rain. Anything?
Yes. There's no real comment on how much rain or how heavy the rain is going to be, but pretty much everyone has been complaining about rain, because that's just going to add another element of I guess complication to this race. Having to deal with it in the dry is bad enough, but rain's going to throw up a whole lot more hazards. But no, don't really know to what extent it will rain. But it's nice to kind of have a bit of suspense in it anyway, I think, for the sake of entertainment on the stream. So I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. Wait and see on that. I think some reason my Twitch is malfunctioning on my phone right now, but Speeds is gonna come around. He's starting a brand new lap again on softs. I feel like that's probably the best way to go about this. Just give it 4 good goes on the soft tires, because track position is very important, and honestly positioning yourself in qualifying is extremely important. This is an extremely narrow, tight track, tons of absolutely blind corners. You have no idea when someone's coming up on you. As speeds to around turn 9. Looks like he stepped out. Invalidated. Easy to do that as well.
Yeah, a couple of curbs that are tempting. I think running wide through there is probably the most inviting one for picking up a warning. Other than probably running wide at the penultimate corner exit between the second last corner and the last corner. That's also a pretty easy place to get penalties. Other than that, there's probably not many too many places you'll pick them up, as most of the other curbs are pretty deadly.
Positioning yourself in Whoa.
Some of them are
Who's
very,
that?
very high.
Whoa, hey, that was a reverb. Yeah, Katie just went off in that same exact spot that we were just talking about.
Yeah,
Easy to do
may
on,
have just
on
caught a bit of
around here.
curb on the entry, would be my guess. I remember saw a league race here where at the end of qualifying we had about 6 people spin it there at the same time. Bit of a car park, so it is really hazardous through there. It's almost flat, perhaps flat if you get the line absolutely perfect, and very easy to kind of wash out onto the curbs. So it's an easy mistake to make, and I guess it shows he's really pushing, which is what we like to see. But we've got lots of yellows on the track now for some reason. It is difficult to get out of the way, so maybe people are just going, I don't know, taking extra measures to do so, but you did mention it was that narrow, so let's hope people can keep it clean.
Yeah, it is a bit modernized. Just in order to get that FIA Grade 1 rating back, is Slater did just put it in a P2. But they did have to do quite a bit to get this back into the F1 calendar. Obviously, we weren't able to see that this year due to COVID restrictions, but I think we should be back here next year, and I'm looking forward to that, because this is going to be a blasty blast to watch, especially if we get a little rain. It's Nicholas getting a little wiggly coming out turn 9.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the provisional calendar for next season. I believe Zandvoort is towards the end of a bit close to the end of the season, but it is on the calendar, which is good to see. It would be great to see modern F1 cars fly around here. I mean, it's not going to be particularly easy for them to make moves. It'll be a lot easier to on the game, but that's even hard enough. But it'll be awesome to watch them try and fly around this circuit at maximum speed.
Yeah, I think it could be a lot. Just with the elevation, it's not the same kind of circuit by any means, but just with the elevation, could look a little bit like Portimao a few weeks ago, and that actually did prove to have some decent racing, which is something most of us were concerned about. I believe that is Mercedes that Nicholas has just passed. I believe that's Venice. Not sure if he did that on purpose. Didn't even see him, but hopefully he can continue. But yeah, gonna be interesting. Is out just a 108.1. Should be noted, if you check out the World Time Trials, that Alp is currently, once you get past all the people that obviously used a glitch, Alp is like P2 or 3. So you should expect this kind of pace from him, I suppose. But Nicholas isn't very far off in these conditions. What's going on, Matty Rabo? He is in the race, coming up from EU2 for the 3rd or 4th time today. I got Teresa, Joel, thus far in the comments. What's going on, y'all?
It's an AM1 race winner.
He is, yes. I mean, it is worth noting. That was a dark day for everyone outside of Haas.
You don't normally say that in F1, do you?
Absolutely not.
Normally it's within Haas.
Yeah, it's inside of. Never. Either way, it is gonna be a good race. I'm looking forward to it. If you guys have any predictions, obviously, I think we're starting to see a pretty clear cut here in the top 2. As Speedsa, I think, is going out for his 3rd attempt into what I found was the Hugenholtz corner, named after the brilliant track designer of multiple circuits like Suzuka in the 50s and 60s. Fun
It's an
facts.
interesting little fact.
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
John Hugenholtz. Absolutely. Oh, and Speeds has just done it again. Oh man, somebody called Britney Spears. He has done that same exact thing once again, unfortunately for him. And right
He'll have one more
along.
go, but
Yeah, he's got just enough time. I believe Perry is pretty far up on track right now. Trying to see who is the furthest around.
Enrique's coming through the sector 1 split now. He's on a lap.
Yeah, I think Perry's just ahead of him.
Yeah. And Perry, yeah, that'll be the Haas just in front, maybe a bit between the pair of them.
Gotta say that
Enrique.
some of the I didn't watch last night's race in its entirety yet, but just picking and choosing from some of the races that I've seen through the start of the week, the helicopter shots around here are wonderful. They actually did do a really good job at kind of translating these things whenever we don't have the actual thing to go off of. So well done to Cody's on that. That'll be about as much credit as I'll give them for.
Good stuff, Cody's. Third time's the charm for Speedster. He's managed to get through there without invalidating this time. Those softs aren't going to be optimal. But he's coming through the second sector split now. DRS zone. It's 2/10 up, geez, and he's cut a lot of that and gotten away with it actually.
You can do that.
Reward curve that one, because you can go straight on into the inside of the next bit, which is
and then he does it coming out of 14.
Oh, that could have been a 7. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
He'll have one more go, but
that is
that was going to be
unfortunate. I
epic.
think this is either Bursey. Yeah, it was Bursey going by. Right there, could not improve. Looking around, I think Swarner is the only one on a hot lap aside from you, Venice, and he is further along. Oh, did he? Yeah, okay. I guess he might have backed out. I thought he was. Thought he might have invalidated. Matty Robbo, he is saying that he thinks that Slater has a good chance. I would probably tend to agree. You guys have had a pretty good record of coming in here the past few weeks. Performing well. It was mainly fighting for 7ths and 8ths, but now that some of the heavy hitters are coming in there, it is podiums on deck. Follow Swarner to the line. That is up to 11th of 109.1 for him. And Slater, Slater.
We have a more in-depth weather report in the chat. Bean has said intermediate start, intermediate's 20 minutes in, and dry 45 minutes in. So it's going to go from wet to dry.
Well, that'll throw everything into a bit of a tizzy at the start, I'd say. These guys are all
the
out
20
here.
minutes to 45. That's really kind of flexible. Like that could be either 5 laps of dry at the end, or it could be over half the race. It's a very rough guide, which I think is good, because if you know exactly what lap the rain is going to start and stop, then it makes things a bit not interesting.
Yeah, it's true. Spontaneity is the spice of life.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the chance for people who are quick thinkers to get their strat right and possibly jump up a bit, which is a factor in racing. So see, you can take advantage of that, but it is nice having a bit of mysteriousness around it, I guess. But yeah, wet to dry, it's going to be interesting. I wonder if it'll be a medium sprint at the end, perhaps after the rain comes. We'll see who can survive long enough to see that.
Yeah, Fenrique.
Ferrari's just not so nuts.
Oh, that's good. I'd love to see that. Fenrique has just used the slipstream of his teammate, the current points leader, Nicholas. And he will not improve into P5, so that is day over for Fenrique. P6, definitely not what he's going to be looking for.
And he's retired on track, which is
that is He's a naughty boy if you ever seen his tattoos. Not the kind of guy you want to take home to your daughter. I mean, your father. Whatever, your persuasion. Swanner has done the same thing. Speeds to Purple Sector 2. Let's see if he can get this right again. Perry's trying as well, but I think he's going for a fast lap as well. This is a fast lap from Speedster. I think not quite. Whoa, chill out, man. But for more, I believe that is KD crossing the line. No improvement there in the P9.
It was Bean, I think.
Oh, was it Bean?
I think it's Bean. KD's in the middle sector. He's up marginally. But that's going to be enough to get him P9 if he can hang on to it, and possibly even on P8, sorry, and possibly even P7. He's got a little bit of traffic in front. Speeds is retired.
Oh, look at how.
On track as well.
Look at how. I mean, there's just nowhere to go. You're playing dodgems.
Yeah.
Perry was trying to get over, and he had to knock out all the all the braking signs going into turn 9. Just unfortunate. But Lopez, or it does look like Bean has done a Purple Sector 2, and then he promptly invalidates it. So not great from him. Lopez is also invalidated. Perry's invalidated. Bursey has invalidated. These guys are really going for it there at the end.
Oh. Bursey's just gone into the pits at about 250 k's an hour.
Well, hey.
Lucky the game slows you down, otherwise there would have been deaths.
Well, it could have been some virtual deaths, but you know what? It's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. Alp, once again, your pole winner. He is currently commencing his onslaughts towards the top of the grid, even though he missed the first 6 races of the season. Should run over some points real quick. Nicholas is at 200. He's got a 50-point lead on Bean, who has a 30-point lead on Fenrique, and Alp is already on the back of Fenrique at 120 points. After that, R-Bar with 115, Swarner with 108, Perry with 98, Lopez with 71. They kind of fill out the 1.5 grid. I think that's what they're calling it for themselves. Then plenty of tasty battles further down, especially the battle for P9. Which Speedster is currently leading. It's probably going to be a P10, to be completely fair. But KD, Bursey, Juve, Wing It, JCK, Fatal, all in the old mix there. We'll run down the order here. Out Nicholas, Slater, Speedster, Lopez, Fenrique, Bean. I was looking at the wrong page. Looks like, but yeah, if you guys want to get your predictions in now, feel free. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not sure if you have any ideas, but I do think it's going to be hard to top Alp, especially when he's starting on pole. But it does come down to wet weather driving when you make that crossover. A lot of factors at play here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, and with weather playing a part to make things spicy too. Look at that rain coming down. And the skies are fairly dark. I mean, we see a couple of drivers who seem to pick up some wet weather pace fairly quickly, and some who take a bit more time to adjust. So it's going to be an important start, because whoever can adjust quickest can probably make up some positions and possibly build some gaps on some guys behind, and that could be possibly race winning by the time the dries come around, because once it does get dry, it's going to be difficult to really make passes. So I guess it's who's bravest and who's kind of got the confidence first.
Yeah, I believe
I know people like Enrique and Lopez tend to be decent in the wet, but we know Nicholas and Alp also up the front. Haven't seen Speedster in the wet. I'm not too sure about the likes of Slater and some of the other reserves, but it's going to be a really important first few laps to see who can acclimatise the quickest.
A couple of the predictions that have come in. Joel says Alp, Nicholas, Bean. Dresa deciding to go completely different with his choice. He says Slater, Alp, Nicholas. Just one little point. Matty Rabo is rooting uh, for his European comrade and Matty, or not Matty, but Slater. I think Matty's going to say Alp, Nicholas, Slater speeds the top 4. So interesting. I think this is going to be a weird race. It doesn't look like it's coming down enough. I think we might be able to get into lap 10, 11, the normal switchover point. And that might dictate something else, or more of a straightforward race.
At about, say, 1 minute 15 race lap time, maybe a bit less than that. Quick maths, that's probably what.
Big Shack. Could it be on for an intermediate pit stop to more intermediates? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if that rain does stay out, you might have to stop again, and that could be really important because, I mean, fresh inters are that much quicker than old inters, but if you don't have enough time to really make the most of them, then it's really just going to set you back absolutely massively, so it's a big risk. But I guess they just have to adjust as the weather comes. And the race strat at the start isn't necessarily completely accurate as well. I know in the last F1 game, F1 2019, your parents told you exactly when it was going to be dry and wet conditions, and it was always right. Whereas here, I think there's a bit less certainty. So these guys might not even know how long the rain is really going to stay out for, and how long the inters are going to be quicker than the dries. So it's going to be a bit of a frantic race, I think. We'll see who can capitalise.
Well, going to be frantic, and we already have the glitches starting. It says on my screen, okay, doesn't anymore. It said lap 2. But here we go. 3 lights, 4 lights. The 5th light as well is going out, and they are off. No glitches there, and Alp is not going to get the better of Nicholas as the ticker did glitch, so it's a little difficult right now to see. I think Alp is going to show inside into turn 3.
My board's okay.
Yeah, I've got Swarner and DK. Yeah, I got Swarner and DK in the lead. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that right now. To prevent any confusion. But Nicholas does lead Alp from Slater, so looks status quo, at least through the top 4 at the moment.
We're side by side through the second end of the first sector, by the way, which is incredibly sketchy in the dry regardless of the wet, but they've kept it out of the wall, so well done to them. Like Varbar, Swan and Wingit, DK, Juventus, all nice and close together, and there are going to be a couple more moves. Arbar, Perry, Wingit, Warner.
That is really well done. Ooh, I think that's Burzy getting loose there as well. But yeah, it is getting bunched up, but overall pretty clean. I haven't seen any winglets or anything like that. We got a Haas and a Alpha side by side through this little kink.
And Perry's going to get that one done. Not really an overtaking place, really. I mean, in the dry you get DRS there, but the straight's not really long enough. The braking zone's not that friendly. I'm feeling maneuvers. Swanner gets a bit loose in banking there. It's probably not going to be flat for first. In this first stint, really.
Yeah, I would say so.
Front there. Nicholas with a 1.3 second lead already, that's pretty big. That's going to be important for the race. And all the battling's happening behind him.
Yeah, I'm still having some difficulties here with my leaderboard at the moment, but that is a pretty commanding lead from Nicholas early on. For some reason it's mixed up Alp and Slater. And now Speedsta is in the lead, which he's not. He's actually being attacked by the Brazilian Fenrique, who is sublime in the wet, as you might expect from his heritage. Going to be interesting to see where the passing points are on this circuit. It might just come down to who is being as brave as possible or at least coming out of the final corner, which is banked. We have both racing points here. Nose to tail Bean obviously needs as many points as he can get to stay in the top 2 or 3 of the championship. I'm not sure if we're going to see any shenanigans from the team right now. Lawrence Stroll on line 1 for KD, perhaps. I think we're reset back to normal. Yes, yeah, Nicholas.
Keep it clean together. As well, I think Enrique goes a bit deep. Yeah, that's almost showed the nose to Lopez, and Enrique's lost the momentum. He did that with speed stuff.
This is given a lot of.
Yeah, he's got pace a bit. Top 4 starting to spread though. Top 5. And there's still a bit of a battle pack with the racing points, and then Arbar and Perry and Swan are behind. And then Wingett and DK and Co have dropped a tiny bit, but they're still nice and close to each other. So a couple of separate little battle packs forming already, only on lap 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bean is trying his hardest to get by. There's just there are already so few areas to get around another car on this circuit. But obviously, I think KD likes his odds as well. I think Bean's going to be a little frustrated as we're going to see Arbar, Perry, Swarner now latching onto the back of this train that is starting with Fenrique, actually, back there in P5. Wonder if he made a mistake a little bit earlier when we were watching the drama at Racing Point, but now Lopez is all over the back of him. And pretty much everyone down to P11 is on the back of each other.
Yeah, and then Fatal has retired. That's in the pit lane. That's very early on.
Could be.
I'm not sure why you would retire on lap 4 of a potentially hazardous race. You could probably breed a safety car or two. But he's decided he's had enough already.
Channeling his inner Niki Lauda.
In the first sector, which is not an easy place to swap, and Arbar's almost going to throw the nose in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was planned or not, but I think Bean was. I think Bean had the pace over KD. Typically these guys would be in parties, but I don't think they are right now. Arbar, yeah, all over the back. Poor qualifying in terms of what he's used to. Same with really Perry over the past few races, but they are now going to be attacking this. It's going to be a strange one, I think. As we get a little deeper in.
Yeah, Katie looks like he's struggling a bit. He's already dropped the second half to his teammate. He did second purple second sector. That lap, according to our wonderful telemetries, Perry's almost lost it on the bacon as well. That's going to lose touch to Arbar for him. So really hazardous still. The Swarner's still on the back of Perry. Not really close enough to really make a move. The battle for P12 as well. That's still a 6-way fight, pretty much, from P12 down to 16, then Clayfuck not too far back. But yeah, a couple of guys looking like they're still struggling a tiny bit to find some rhythm and flow, which is always going to be difficult at a new track regardless, but especially around here where it's so technical and, as you said, a real driver's circuit. You really need confidence, because as soon as you're missing confidence, you're missing speed, and that's when things fall over, particularly in such a competitive tier. So hopefully some of these guys can find their confidence again. Katie looks like he's managed to hold station about a second half of his teammates, so maybe he's starting to find the grip, but he's still got Arbar right in his tail, and I'm sure Arbar will be trying to fill his mirrors as much as possible. Quick chap up the front though, Nick's gap to Alt is now 2.7 seconds.
Absolutely massive.
Drawing quite quickly. That's a really big gap in the wet. And Slater and Speedster are both outside of second as well. Enrique's sort of caught up to Speedster again. And then it starts getting close behind that. But yeah, you can see on the mini-map even some pretty big gaps between those guys, which does tend to happen in the rain a fair bit. But we'll see if anyone can really do anything about that.
Probably a little less sketchy than if they were all packed together. Although I probably would be expecting a safety car regardless in this race. Pretty much every other tier has had at least one. I think EU2 the other night, might have been EU3, had like 3 safety cars. I don't think I've ever seen that before. But this race can turn on its head at any moment. But for right now, I mean, these guys in the middle, Bean now really on the back of Lopez, who might be getting caught up to Fenrique, and I think the reason behind that is that Speedsta has dropped back.
Speedster's made a mistake.
Yeah,
I think
something has
Speedster's
happened
made
to
a mistake
Speedsta, yeah. Because that gap has gone from a little over a second to not, as you can see on your screens right now. This is going to back these guys up even more. Fenrique is going to be all over him. But there's really just nowhere... Oh man, his Speedsta's just getting so twitchy on the banking there. But there's just really nowhere to pass, especially without DRS around here, where you know, you really need the person in front of you to make a humongous mistake in order to get by in these
with a mid-speed and then almost flat out, last couple of corners, it's really hard to get a run, particularly in the wet when you're not as confident to put the throttle down. So it's going to be almost impossible really to make an overtake. Juventus is... Oh, these guys are going at it. Check out the battle for P12. Juventus and DK trying to follow Wing It through. Now Matty Roberts getting involved. They're going side by side, two ways. Berger's really been behind them as well. This is really kicking up here. There's a lot happening. I saw Juventus throw the nose in on DK. You had to back out of it to avoid probably a major crash.
Well, maybe that's one way. Maybe if we watch this for a little bit, we can somehow surmise how we can get some overtakes in that pack for P4. Yeah, these guys are just way too. This is great. Oh man, usually do see these battle packs in pretty much every race, and I love the helicopter shots around here. I think I already mentioned it, but they are fantastic. As we see all these guys nose to tail through that 12-13 section. It's extremely technical. Hopefully they practice in the rain this week, because I know I didn't. I wasn't even going to risk it. But
well, Juventus and Wing It. Juventus is going around the outside of turn 1. It's a long way around.
Oh god.
You'll be able to hold higher speed and probably will be advantaged on the exit, which he is. And Wing It has to slow behind. Almost thinks about throwing the nose back, but not really viable to do that through there.
Well done to Juventus. Yeah, well done to Juventus, but he's 8 seconds behind P11 now. As no, I think Bean is all over the back of Lopez. I think Fenrique is maybe stretched out a gap, but I think this is just a Speedsta gap right now, where I don't know why these times keep changing on me, but I think Speedsta probably actually is about a second ahead of Fenrique right now. So he has kind of found some more pace. Thought that he might have lost a little confidence there, but he's obviously found his footing once again. Commentator's curse, as always.
No, they're doing well so far. No one's really made any major mistakes. As I say that, Perry has just spun it on the banking.
No.
Literally just then.
Oh boy, and these guys probably don't know what's going on.
No, with the spray, they're barely going to be able to see anything. That could have been a major pile-up with Juventus coming around the corner as well with that pack behind him. But Perry, I don't think he's got damage. Otherwise, he would have peeled into the pits. But those inters might take a lap or two to cool down again. The spin on that banking is not going to do them any favours. But yes, first major mistake then. Just saying how clean these guys were so far. But that's put Perry back out of the points now. So he can have a long race ahead of him to get back up to where he's been scoring fairly consistently. He's kind of the top 5, 6, 7 places, if not a podium.
Yep.
But this hasn't quite worked out for Perry yet. You did mention in qualifying, both him and Arba, usual suspects for the top. Not getting quite the track position that we wanted. Speaking of track position, Wing It probably wants to gain a little bit more as well. Juventus hasn't really gotten away, and Perry's on the inside of DK. So these guys are still going really hard at it. Perry does get through now, so it looks like he's settled back in okay, but Wing It almost looks likely to get Juventus, but got a good enough run out of that corner there to stay ahead with the Mercedes. But I mean, this is 6 cars. Oh, and is that Perry off again? Yeah, it is Perry. Perry's lost the traction. He's put it in the wall. So that's probably almost definitely damaged now.
No, I don't. No, the front wing does look good. Yeah, this
Mate,
time
that
it's...
harden's made of something else.
Oh, goodness. Look at him. He is... I think he's playing the wrong Codemasters game right now. He looks like he is in dirt at the
He looks like
moment.
he's playing F1 2011 or something. Right.
Matty
The way that rear looks.
Rabo and DK going side by side through turn 3 into the aforementioned beautiful Hugenholtz box. As I've learned way more Dutch than I've really wanted to in the past 30 minutes. I believe that means corner. Oh, and Matty Rabo just getting too much dirty air. That car is pushing. I'm not sure who's
Perry
off right
again.
now. It's Perry again. This has just gone from bad to worse for Perry. Did not really look forward to these conditions, obviously. And
You know
speaking
what,
of
actually?
the conditions, it does
I was
not
gonna
look
say.
like it's raining anymore, and that might have been one of the main causes. We'll have to see when these guys are going to start pitting, but there's definitely a dry line on offer. So someone might be able to...
Perry's probably staying out for the dry tyres because it's definitely not ready yet. You can still see the spray kicking up. That's probably one of the more reliable indicators as to when the track's changing. The spray off the tyres, and there's definitely a lot of it still. The dry line's only just forming, but that's probably what Perry's hoping for to dry out quickly. But he's now a long way off with 3 major mistakes now. But yeah, that track is changing. The rain's not coming down, so it's just a matter of when the track dries. And with the sky being so dark, it might be a little while. If it goes straight to kind of clear weather, then it tends to dry out within a lap or two. But with the cloud cover, it may take a tiny bit longer. But, I mean, these guys are going to be starting to find a bit more grip, but on their older Inter tyres, I mean, they'll be... Well, let's not take a guess. Let's have a look at what kind of wear they're on. They're in the 40% for most of the field, so those Inters are not prime either, so it's going to be a real balancing act to see who can extract the grip out of the track with the tyres they've got left.
I think...
How many laps is it going to take for a pit stop?
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about Zandvoort, obviously, is they have built 2 banked corners for F1 to come back, just to give them that. And the only other banked corner in F1 is actually just Shanghai. And if you've ever watched NASCAR, they don't race in rain on banked corners because it's dangerous. And here we are at the only circuit with 2 banked corners. We are racing in the rain. So for these guys to really make it through, with the exception of Perry so far, has actually been somewhat admirable. Would have expected a lot more carnage in hindsight, but well done to the drivers.
They've done very, very well. Keeping it clean, keeping the pace up. Of course, you're going to see little mistakes here and there, but no one, with the exception of the Haas, has really seemed to bottle anything. Is that a Red Bull?
I think that was
I'm
it
not
Perry?
sure.
No, I think it was Perry
Might be
spinning
Perry getting
again.
lapped.
Yeah.
I was going to say there was a stationary car, and I thought it might have been Nicholas, but it's not, as he's still 3.5 seconds in the lead. It's just following the Fiend, who got really close to Lopez as well.
Oh, and that's going to
Coming onto the
be...
main straight.
Oh, that's
The track
Perry is going to be the first one.
Trying, but still not dry enough. So
Fenrique is in.
I thought it
Yep,
might be
we will
Perry, but it
see.
is Fenrique. who
Perry
follows
was in there in
actually.
front of him, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like he's
More
the only
inters,
one so
more
far.
inters. And Perry's put wets on. So Perry's gone wets and Fenrique's gone inters, which I think is really puzzling, actually.
I mean,
As the
like,
track's
I don't know if
obviously
you just
dry.
heard that little ASMR sound, but that was actually me scratching my beard when I saw that. I'm not sure what that was.
Oh, the Renault's going side by side as well. Just flick
well.
to that. They've kept it clean though.
Hold on.
But yes, that is some questionable strategy. Although maybe they think there's more rain coming. Although usually when the rain stops, it doesn't come back. I don't know.
Honestly, puzzle. Yeah, I think puzzling is probably the perfect word for that, because I'm very confused. What's going on? Obviously with Haas, I mean, it could be that Perry just wanted, he was probably asking for like hards, and then somebody like accidentally gave him wets. You never know.
I mean, around here, track position is so important. And Enrique has just lost that track position that he had. As is that Perry again on the wet tires? Yes, he's got no grip on those.
I wonder if he like tried to put on like hards but clicked it the wrong way, or something like that, because that is unfortunate. I mean, I really don't know.
One of the first teams, you get very little time to change the things over, but Haas is towards the end of the pit lane, so he would have had a bit more time to change his tyres. But I mean, it's definitely not time for wets. Maybe he was just going to do a fun lap and retire. I don't know. But the players, he's going to lose again. No, he isn't. That's just lag. As he's going to pit again. So let's see who puts on this time. He'll speed, take out the board, and retire. So that's a bit naughty from Perry as well. He might get a couple of angry words from drivers after the race for that.
Naughty boy status for Perry. But as this is played on, Speeds has actually been able to reel back in Slater, who was quite a ways up the road at some points, and he's actually gotten past Lopez as well, who now finds himself staring at a top 5. He can keep Bean behind him. As Slater is using... Whoa, my God. I don't know if Speeds is glitching or if he's actually saving it. He's basically dirt tracking out of the banking every single corner. Slater's using it a little bit better, I think, going in very wide and then coming out shallow instead of using the typical racing line when it's dry. But nonetheless, some battles at play here. Lopez is falling behind, but Bean is catching up. R-Bar is catching up to KD, as well as no one else has decided to pit. Obviously not feeling the dry tires quite yet, but I think we could be looking at it in a few minutes or a few laps. I mean, it's overcast, but the more these cars run around, the dryer's got to get.
I reckon they're going to have to pit, even if it's not quite ready, because I'm just having a look at some of this tyre wear. KD's front left is on 69%, and 70 is pretty much puncture territory. He's got R-Bar right in the back and looks like he's really struggling with R-Bar. Has to back up the throttle slightly. Wow. Nick's tyres aren't much better. His front left's at 67. This track will absolutely shred that front left. Even in the dry as well, it just overheats a whole lot. Clay's put on hards from last. That might take a while to heat up, as Slater is going to get overtaken by Speedster. Battle for a podium. This is worth watching here. So Slater has lost a fair bit of time in the last lap or two. I wonder if his tyres are going off. His front left's at 70%. Yep. So his tyres are definitely going off. Katie will hit as well as Swarner. Katie's put mediums on, so it looks like it's just about time. I wonder if anyone is going to have a puncture, because there are a lot of people in the high 60s, low 70s now.
Honestly,
I think regardless of the weather, you have to hit now.
Yeah, if you're outside of the top 6 or 7, I think it's smart to go ahead and try this. There's probably a net of a few laps. Something has happened. I think that might be, is that Clay possibly?
I think Clay spun it. Yeah, on the hards. They're going to be horrible for a couple of laps there.
Swarner's put on the hards as well.
Yes,
these guys, we'll have to check the lap differences. I think this might be more in medium territory than hard.
I also think that the mediums will make it to the end comfortably. 20 laps should be doable.
20 laps.
Or maybe not necessarily comfortably, but they'll make it to the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the track temp's going to be so down that they should not wear through very fast. Or at least you wouldn't think they would. Lopez and Slater going inside, right behind each other. I think that was Alpin in front of him. I feel like that's probably not the right call. I think the people that called this early are probably going to be the ones that reap the biggest benefits. As Nicholas on track comes out.
He's going to be closer to Fenrique than he was before. He's going to be close to jumping him, actually. Although Fenrique did pit a second time, actually, because he did pit for more inters before that. As DK's going to pick up 5 seconds, which is not ideal. KD will come out right next to R-Bar.
Oh boy, this is...
So good job there from Katie with the undercut. As Lopez has put on more inters. What are you
Oh
doing?
no.
That's a mistake and a half from the Ferrari. Oh,
Man, Haas and Ferrari making pit errors out here. I would hate to say it, but it's not unexpected.
no. I'd like to say it's all part of the Ferrari master plan, but I don't see how this would benefit anything. But it looks
Yeah.
like it is mediums for almost everyone. Berzi, Matarobo, Clay Funk at the back put on hards. Assad Spawn just a bit ahead of them. But I definitely think medium's the way to go. Not just with the massive grip advantage you're going to have, but just the tyre life should be fine as well. Speedster will pit a lap late because he had to wait for his teammate. He might actually lose out a bit of trap position to Slater and Lopez. He's only coming out of the exit now, and he might even lose out to Bean. It's going to be close. No, he'll just come out ahead of the three of them, which is massively important actually. Having a bit of clear in front.
I'm not really
It's
sure.
going to be difficult to overtake three cars.
I mean,
Similar pace.
it's really clear to see just riding on board with Bean how much faster he is right now than Lopez on the inners, and he's got to get by him ASAP because he might have more of a race to run than unfortunately Lopez, who I think is going to have to take those tires off pretty much this lap.
Yep.
Bean does force his way through there. Going into turn 10. So we'll see. I think that definitely does help out Bean quite a bit. It's helped out pretty much everyone quite a bit. Speedster into third place. That's actually a bit more of a gap than I thought he'd get. Nicholas is marching away with this.
Well, I thought Speedster would drop back more. With
Yeah, I
next
did.
lap on him.
Yeah, I did
Drive
too.
good.
Well, I wonder what kind of lap he put in on his in lap. Maybe he might have just cranked everything on up. Gotta just go through here. Slater's really the only one. There is Lopez. That must have been a mistake. And Bean puts in the fastest lap. Slater has. It's only 7/10, but that's really the only one that's within a second on track right now. Thought this would be kind of weird.
Last lap, and that gap's already 2.5 seconds. That tells you all you need to know about pace between the mediums and the hards, particularly in drying conditions. The soft tyres or the softer tyres are just going to be that much better. So I think those guys who put on hards have probably made a mistake as well in the strategy. But we'll have to see whether they can pull a bit of that time back at the end of the race when the mediums start to go off a tiny bit.
Interesting. I think Fenrique has come out here. He is starting to chase down Arbar, put in the fastest lap after Bean did. So he's the fastest man on track right now, according to my calculations. Arbar gets a lot of understeer going into turn 11. And Fenrique, I think he might just throw a lob at some point. Nicholas fastest. And these times are going to start dropping. Alp with a 16. Speedster with a 16.3. That was about 7/10 faster than Alp. So looking forward to keep this one up.
Judging by the quality times, looks like it's moderately dry setup. Oh, that was close. Does Arbar got some damage, or did I just see things? No, Arbar does have damage, front left, end plate. I thought I just saw it riding on board with Enrique going past him, but Arbar does have damage, which is really going to hurt him. He did jump into a decent position after pit stops, but now he's just going to start falling back towards the likes of Lopez, who are going to start catching him soon. But I'm not sure where he would have picked that up. My guess, or my only guess, would really be pit exit. It is quite narrow, and you have to hold it a lot tighter than you think, because he wasn't really near anyone else, because he was near Speedster. No, not Speedster, sorry, he was near Bean, I think it was, or KD, the racing points. But he won there. So, puzzling there.
Yeah. Unsolved Mysteries is Nicholas drops that down again. Alp dropping it down. The speed is picking up down here. Nicholas is gone. He has lost about 2 seconds since the pit stop to Alp, and Bean now is going to be comfortably in the top 4, if not top 3 pretty soon. Slater as well challenging. We have a huge gulf down to P6, where it's KD and Finrique, who is pouring in another fast lap. We've seen this drop from the high 16s to the high 14s in about a minute and a half. So this track is drying rapidly. We are going to see a dry finish to this race. Joel says that he thinks Nicholas is on a wet setup. Could be possible. I did see he had a lot of pace in the practice session before the race that a few of the drivers had, but the entire time I think Alp probably has the most raw speed, especially in the dry. So we'll see how that plays out. Nicholas is obviously still holding on to it. Doesn't really have to do too much with a 4.5 second lead right now.
Yeah, the gap is slowly closing. It's about 2 or 3 cents a lap. So it could get interesting at the end. It's just a matter of whether Alp can hang on to it. He does set another fast lap, 14.5, so that's much quicker than Nicholas. That lap he didn't improve. DK's on the back of Spawner as well for P10. So that's a battle for some points. And Wingett's going to dive down the inside of Juventus, who ends up kind of just letting him go. But Spawner on his hards has dropped a lot of pace. He's got a 14.5 second gap to Lopez ahead, who's just gotten ahead of Arbar. The Mercedes guys teleport to the pit entry pretty much to service that red that red topped Mercedes. Get a new front wing and some more mediums. Honestly, I think if Arbar stayed out for 2 more laps, he could have put softs on. But regardless of that, he's now dropped out of the points.
That's going to be another medium set for Arbar. Was it a wing change?
Yeah, it was a wing change.
Yeah,
and he didn't put it in the wall in the pit exit this time. He was very, very easy on it. So, not ideal there, but Arbar now scoring 0 points as it stands, but he's got a 4 second gap to close to DK, which he could do. He'll at least get Spawner, I think, on those hard tyres. But he might still have a chance for P9. And the second car might help him as well, being on slightly fresher tyres.
Slater with a 13.5.
Well, he's on the back of Bean again.
Yep,
Those two
he
are
is
just
saved
each other along,
something.
aren't they?
Yeah, he has saved something for Bean. As times are dropping, Alp has got that lead down under 4 seconds from Nicholas. And Lopez is absolutely flying right now. He's set 2 consecutive fastest lap. He's down to a 13.3. As he tries to, you know what, even if he finishes somewhere in like the top 6 or 7, that is still pretty good for having a completely wasted 40 or so seconds with that second pit stop, or the first pit stop back to intermediates. But I will say, last night I did speak to Lopez, and he said he was really confident.
Sorry, Bezzy's in the gravel.
Who is it?
Turn 1.
Berzy?
Oh,
no.
Gravel going side by side, and Bezzy's always spun it in the gravel as well, and that's damage. I think he just ran out wide trying to fight. He's going to reverse onto track, and let's hope he doesn't get involved with Nicholas coming around. The car should go anyway, but Pathfinder with Berzy now.
Yeah, I think the hard, he just
back.
can't turn this thing.
Yeah, Matty Robbo was down the inside. I think Berzy just outbroke himself slightly. I just saw the end of it, so I can't really tell. He's going to get 10 seconds, but obviously exploiting the track limits and gaining massive time.
Yeah, absolutely flying is Berzy through the gravel.
Yeah, that's so stupid. Why is that even a thing? Surely, like, the game can see you're on the gravel, you've lost front wing, you've just done about a 25-point turn, and we're going to say, no, you can't do that, we'll just give you a big penalty. It's so funny how it works sometimes.
I mean, it doesn't really make any sense because...
Oh my goodness, I've just seen the most aggressive weaving I've ever seen as well. Oh, Juventus and Matty Robbo. Oh, sorry to just jump in there again, but that was some crazy stuff. Geez, I'm gonna clip that and show you later. I think that's how aggressive that was.
Hey, it
Juventus
is
all over the track defending from Matty Robbo. He's actually got half decent pace and hard tyres.
It is the Tarzan corner. Remember, Bod. You have to be...
Oh, and Juventus is front with damage, that's why.
Savage one. Oh.
Yes, what was it? Tarzan Bucks.
Tarzan Bucks.
I'm
I
going to do the
apologize to all the Dutch people watching right now. I
yeah.
cannot speak your language. It's very
And
difficult.
Australians are typically not very good at
Yeah.
replicating international accents either.
Yeah, we're probably the two worst people qualified nationality-wise to speak other languages. So
Yes, yes, sorry.
DK is into the points, though. It is Veterans Day. DK was trying to come up with a reason for all the cars to pull over on the final lap so he can win, as he is a veteran himself in America. But I think he will be happy with a point if he can keep it on track here. So hopefully no commentators curse for that. We'll go back up front to Slater and Bean, who are kind of in lockstep. While Slater's gaining, Bean's actually gaining on Speedsta as well, so could have a decent fight for the final step of the podium, but the top step of the podium, I think, is also going to be pretty intense, as Alp has gotten this down to 2.5 or so with 10 laps remaining. in for an exciting finish. I think it's spinach, as I was thinking of.
Exciting spinach. I'm not sure if anyone's put exciting and spinach in the same sentence together.
Exciting spinach, spinala. Yeah. I mean, I actually like spinach. I'm not gonna lie, but whatever.
No, it's not too bad. You wouldn't call it exciting or anything.
I don't like lettuce, but I'll eat spinach. Either way, Slater has picked up a 3 second. Yep, and R-Bar is going around. Oh no, and DK. Oh,
that's damage as well.
yeah.
I think R-Bar gave him a bit too much of a squeeze there, perhaps.
R-Bar, yeah. I mean,
he's got 6 seconds back to his teammate, but that's now P11 for DK. So hopefully he can hang on, but still 10 laps to go.
R-Bar's not an American citizen, so yeah. The Veterans Day thing does not apply to him. He is. So
apparently not.
That's unfortunate for DK.
Yeah, R-Bar's got some mega pace, but yeah, just a little coming together there. Unfortunately, it's not helped the Renault man. He's going to have his teammate all over the back of him soon. He probably will have to keep it 10 laps still to go. If there was 3 laps, he'd stay out, but 10, it's probably not really worth it.
Yeah, it's too tight and twisty to really make that work for more than a few laps at a time. As Bean.
Also, Bean's set in purple sectors. Yeah, he's within a second now.
Yeah, Bean is absolutely flying at the moment, as Clay Funk has retired. Not sure if that was it. Yeah, it looks like that was in the pits. But, yeah, he was pretty far behind today. The conditions, obviously tricky early on. But, yeah, Bean is starting to pull a gap on Slater. I think he has gotten just about outside of DRS range, while he is just about inside of DRS range for Speedsta.
It's very, very close. Slater misses it, and Bean gets it, so it's so 50-50 at the moment. The last couple of corners are really going to define that. But yeah, Bean looking racy now. Speedster possibly struggling with the tyres. I'll check some of that interesting stuff on the telemetry now, before we get to this final phase of the race.
I think, interestingly enough, DK has come out of the pits with the new wing in front of Speedsta. Speedsta jumps over turn 9. Pretty sure that was warning, but might mix things up a little bit as Alp is down.
He might be able to pull away, but he's going to catch Alp. He's probably not going to be able to overtake and gap Alp. So DK might be better off just letting these guys go than getting into that gap between Slater and KD and then just gunning it for a quicker lap maybe. He'll start picking up some 5-second penalties if he stays there. We both know that we'd rather not have a car right in front of you.
Yeah, if only there were some president that had come out. Oh, there you go, DK. See, DK still remembers. If there were only some president said in the past 24 hours for that.
Was that Bertie?
Was that?
No, I think it was Slater actually. He just did a bit of a swerve in front of DK to say something.
Well, here's Juventus in front of Alp. He is heating. The other McLaren, and it must be mentioned that McLaren have made an absolute onslaught since the signing of Speedster a few races ago to get back up towards the front. They're now P2 behind Red Bull, but that is still it's quite the gap, about 150 points there. Okay, separating them. Bean representing third placed constructor Racing Point. Only 1 point behind, but I do not think they're going to be able to surpass McLaren's might this evening, unless something really drastic happens. As Bean is still kind of gnawing away at Speedster, and he's doing a pretty good job of it, I must say, getting incrementally closer every single lap. But Speed's at the same time, Speed's saving all of his ERS for any legitimate challenges. So it will be interesting to see how these three play out. Really, no other major factors through the field right now, except for DK and Juventus back in P14. Unfortunately for DK, that was definitely a commentator's curse. It took a lap to happen, but I think that was definitely commentator's curse.
Yeah, we'll take the blame for that.
Yep. So my apologies to all the troops out there. Happy Veterans Day. But Bean's right there. I feel like Slater is struggling to keep up with this pack. The only thing that's keeping him here is the DRS, and the only thing keeping Bean from running away from him is probably the fact that Speedster has a bunch of ERS, because Bean has probably been the fastest car on track for the past, I don't know, 8 laps. And at the moment, his Alp proves me wrong as he throws down a 111 on his mediums. But we do have a yellow in sector.
Eddie's making a mistake. He's let Ben get through and lost 2 seconds. So I reckon he's just run off. Possibly lost traction out of the corner. He's have Lopez a second behind as well. So Katie dropped on P7, which is still decent points, but I mean it was P6, which would have been a great result for him.
Yeah, he's gonna put and Lopez is gonna be on his hind end real soon.
Here. Yeah, and you know what? The first time ever I think I've seen KD with 0 time penalties to his name. The only guy with penalties is Speedster and Slater. They both got 3 seconds, and Wingers got 3 seconds.
Yeah, Winger got one really early. It's kind of hard to get time penalties in a wet race at the start.
Yeah. Particularly around the track where you have to be kind of careful.
Yeah.
So only those guys have penalties, and then Thursday's got his. Oh, and Katie's spun it again. I've just had to find out on that. He's taking out to braking boards and possibly a bit of his front one as well.
Yeah, that's his right front end plate there. Still
So
a chance for points.
Well,
he does have that. I mean, this is a monster gap back to R-Bar. 25 seconds. As
just saying he's had such a good clean race, which is he seems to not be able to quite hook a race together, and then just got the mistakes cost him. But he's not going to. I mean, if he pits, he'll come out ahead of Swan probably still. So there's only 1 position lost effectively, or 2 if you count Lopez as well. But yeah, not what I'd do regardless. For KD, potential P6. Yeah, he's going to have to make a second stop. Let's put another gap at the front as well, though. 1.1 seconds is the gap between P1 and P2. And Alt's set more purple sectors. So this is going to spice up now. 4 laps to go. Alt's probably not. He's going to be really close to DRS this lap. If he doesn't get this lap, I reckon he'll have it next lap. I think he's just missed it, but that might help him close up a bit. And you could see a bit of action. Nicholas has been chilling out for most of the race, but he's now. As Alps has another quick slap, he's now got to really focus. And
he's improving about 3/10 on his own fastest lap pace each and every lap for I think the past 5. So he is well within DRS range at the moment. And if he can hold that through the course of the lap, at least into the second DRS zone, should be good. Do want to give a special shout out to Joel. He will actually get this right if his podium prediction right from earlier, if Bean gets past Speedster. So that would be, I think, a first, probably.
Which at the rate he's going with the penalties, he will. Speedster with that 3 seconds.
Yeah, so well done to Joel. Not sure what he's doing up at this time of night in the UK, but whatever it's doing is working pretty good. So maybe take a couple punts this weekend as well while you're at it, Joel. I think gonna go. I still just keep imagining that Bean is gonna somehow get a run here, but I think Speeds just has too much DRS. He's starting to drain it now. That he's not going to be able to keep up. Alp and Nicholas are at least at pretty similar levels, but we're seeing a 2 to 3 tenth drop. Not sure which one to focus on, as Katie and Swanner are actually going out a little bit further back. If I can hop over here quickly.
Yeah, Katie on fresh softs is all over the back, but not really a way to get past here. KD, he's just showing.
It's got to be exit here.
Over a second quicker tyres, and I reckon even close to 2 seconds for him.
Yeah, it'd probably be about 2 seconds. I think Swanner's going to back out.
Simple move. If he gets it stopped, he just gets it stopped. So KD into P9, and that will probably be where he finishes.
And maybe a chance to fastest lap as well for that extra point here with that gap that he's got to R-Bar and P8.
Yeah, who else is going now? Should have fastest lap for 2% ERS crossing the line. Let's see what he can do. I think Elp kind of got that within, what was it, 11 something?
I think it was 11.3 last lap.
11 flat, his fastest lap is.
Oh god.
And he's now got DRS on Nicholas. Gap is now half a second.
Wait, I mean, he's had DRS the past 2 laps, but now he is getting some slipstream as well. He is right there, hassling Nicholas.
Can't get close enough to really make the most of the DRS. It's a proper example. Let's look at that, 6 tenths now on dirty air.
Yeah, dirty air is a bit of a problem around here. But
7 tenths. Yeah. Which I think Bean and Slater are figuring out as well. They've been stuck 8 tenths and 5 tenths. Very similar distances to Speedster. Who's dropped 4.5 seconds to his teammate, but looking comfortable enough to hang on to that P3 on track at least. We'll drop the P5 in penalties as it stands, but yeah, it's been, although having such good pace as you mentioned before, possibly the best pace on track, pretty much, other than possibly Elp. So I'm able to make a move just with the way this track is.
Yeah, it is. ERS is such a problem around here. Really can't get it back. There's no actual hard braking zones like you see in most circuits. It's mainly just kind of fast flowing corners, which doesn't allow that ERS to restock back into the battery on a lap by lap basis. And Alp, last chance hotel for him. I'm not sure if he's going to try anything. He might just let Nicholas take this one, because he's going to have a mega exit out of both turn 10 and 11 into that DRS zone to even have a chance.
Yeah, I reckon it should be okay as long as Nicholas can get a half decent run out of this little section here. Then he should be set. There's no real overtaking zones in the second to last and last corners. This finish line's probably a bit too close. It's very, very close though, 3 tenths. Can he do anything about it? Overtake on.
Right on it.
He'll have DRS, but it's not going to be enough. Nicholas is going to take it.
Well done to Nicholas. I believe that's his 7th win of the season for Nicholas. And Bean will take P3 with the penalty to Speedster. Slater will slot in for P5. Fenrique's coming around. I think we might expect a little more from him today, but either way, he's excited as he weaves across the track to break it from Lopez, who also did well for an extra stop. R-Bar is going to be coming around as well here pretty soon. 25-second gap there.
Yeah, also made another stop. Poss might be in a bit of trouble in the steward's room. But R-Bar, so not a great weekend for his stands, I don't think. He'll come across the line in P8, which is still points. Not the worst result at all. Katie will take P9 off, hopeful for possibly a top 6. Swan will take the final point, sticking it out on the hards after the safety car. I think Matty Robbo dropped to wing it at the line there as well. But no points for Renault, unfortunately, after DK looked likely and wing it just missing out there.
Well, DK looks a little upset in the comments. He says that it is a explicitive
I think,
in
I think
terms
that's
of the game.
Broking.
Something like
That's
that.
what it means.
Yeah, and then Alp says,
Maybe flaking. I can be flaking.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't. Yeah, context clues. I'm not sure. Alp says that he ran out of laps. I think he's probably right. But yeah, good race, interesting race. Get your drivers of the day in down there. Not sure who you're gonna give it to, but really for that, just feel for that last discharge, I'd probably have to give it to Alp or Bean there in the closing laps. Although Nicholas did have a commanding lead. I mean, he came out of the pits at about 7 seconds ahead of Alp. And that is a good race, of course, from him, but not sure.
Nick did very well in that wet. And then Alp did close the gap, so either or, either or could deserve it.
We'll flip a coin. I'm not sure. We'll let Bud get some guys in here. As Matty Robbo chimes in that he should have got some points, but he made some silly mistakes along the way, unfortunately, for Matty.
We'll try and get a couple of guys in for interviews. I know Bean doesn't usually, and we'll see about Nicholas. We'll give him a minute or so and then we'll see who's rocked up. Usually Alp's up for a chat. What's next week's race? Might just check that quickly.
We are in beautiful Sochi.
Russia.
Oh.
There you go.
Beautiful Sochi where they kill stray dogs for fun. But you know, that should be an interesting race at least. Obviously in real life it's pretty boring, but plenty of places to overtake around there.
I think it's a fantastic track in the game. It's funny because in real life they just can't quite seem to do it, but on the game, like this game and the last game and games in the past, I found it really fantastic for wheel-to-wheel racing.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
So it's going to be a good race. It's very good.
Wingit had some fun this evening, even though he was 1 spot short of some points. But well done. Renaults are definitely looking a little bit more competitive than they were at the start of the season between he and DK. But I believe Alp has joined, and Alp probably... We don't even have to kick him out of the podium thing. I mean, he can always just... He just hops in whenever he wants.
Make a new party. That's what I did this time. Whatever works. I mean, with PlayStation, you can just make infinite parties, and it doesn't really matter anyway. But we may as well get started. I'll message Nick in a sec to get him in, but we'll may as well get on with it. Good to be chatting to you again, Alp. Another podium, regular occurrence. Really good dry pace. I think Nicholas is very quick in the wet, but managed to close that gap and probably was maybe 2 laps short of really challenging for that P1 there. I think it was a 3/10 gap at the line. So, I mean, 2 more laps, and do you reckon you would have had him?
Yeah, I mean, maybe even 1 more lap, just like maybe like a drag to the line, but yeah, I don't know if he'll go take round here, but yeah, well done to him. He pulled that pretty well, and yeah, that medium stint, it was so enjoyable, like consistently setting fast laps. I loved it. So yeah, one of my favorite races so far this season, but a bit disappointing not to.
Yeah, that's good. Just chopping a tiny bit there, so hopefully your voice gets a little bit nicer.
Oh,
We
really?
want to hear yeah, a tiny bit. We want to hear all of your beautiful words. Yeah, I might ask you about the track in general though. Zandvoort, new track to the calendar. Obviously, you've got a pretty good time trial time, but what's it like to drive around?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, the only negative is the overtaking, but look, just to like lap around it, one of my favorites, I'd say.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting one. It'll be interesting to see the real life F1 guys go around it when they get a chance next year. But it is quite an insane hot lap, isn't it? We saw a couple of guys obviously putting in plenty of practice for the race, setting some pretty impressive qualifying times, and then the race pace as well was pretty decent. So, yeah, I mentioned, I think you mentioned before the race thinking about the strat there. Mediums were definitely the way to go in the end after that safety car. Did the rain kind of stop when you expected it to? Or was it a bit 50-50?
Well, at first, like based on what the game said, yeah, it was around what I expected, but it started like stopped raining so early. I thought it would like dry up around lap 11ish, 12ish, but no, it just kept on going longer, and yeah, it was easy mediums to the end. I think I was a bit too cautious in the pit entry, and I think I lost a second to Nicholas there. And I mean, had I not done that, I might have caught him earlier. So that's actually a bit annoying when I look back at that. But yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, I think you can be pretty happy with P2. Very close to P1, but you looked very settled up in that top two. On to Russia next week. What are your thoughts on that?
no idea really. I mean, last time we raced there in Contest of Speed was season 4, I think, and I remember having an absolutely horrible start. Like I went from second to 10th. So yeah, not a repeat of that, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, we didn't have it last season, did we? With the shortened calendar, so a couple of guys maybe a little bit rusty around there. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Generally pretty good for wheel-to-wheel racing, so hopefully we see a couple more decent battles, possibly a few more overtakes next week. But we'll catch you then. Congratulations once again on your P2.
Yeah, thank you.
We may as well send a special shout out to Dean as well on P3. Doesn't join the parties, but we'll get Nicholas in. We'll have a quick word to our race winner. Get the call up.
I will say Bean does seem excited in the Twitch chat to return to Mother Russia. Seems like he's pretty happy about that.
Doesn't mind a bit of Russia, does he? Hopefully he can get a good result there next week. I should turn the sound up. Sorry about all this Discord beeping. I'll just mute a couple of servers. There we go. All right. Can you guys hear Nick fine?
Sorry?
There you go. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Lovely. All right. P1, insane wet pace, especially, but had a bit of pressure coming at you in the second half of the race. How was it from your perspective as an overall race?
Very exciting would probably be the best way to put it. It was really enjoyable, especially the wet part. I don't know where that pace came from. I haven't been that strong in the wet around Zandvoort before, but then suddenly it just sort of clicked. In the dry, I don't know what was going on. It was sort of the opposite in the wet, but still a really enjoyable race, and I bet it was quite exciting towards the end for not only Alf and myself, but for you guys to watch as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was a great battle to watch on stream. In terms of your wet/dry pace, what were you doing for setups? Because obviously a lot of the qualifying times weren't too shabby at all. Were you running a fairly dry setup?
It was completely dry, which is why I'm so shocked as to where my pace went in the dry. I don't know whether it was something with the game, because the fastest laps were just getting traded everywhere from, I think, first all the way down to fairly low down on the grid. Now there are fairly quick drivers in there, so it's not a surprise that the later they're going around the track and it's drying that they're going faster. But it was just incredible pace by those around me, and I just couldn't match it.
Well, there you go. It looks like a wet setup at Zandvoort is pointless. You may as well just run a dry one. Um, from our race winner himself. I'll ask you the same question as Alp. What do you think of the track? Obviously, a lot of guys seem to really enjoy hot lapping around it. I assume you'd be the same.
I really, really enjoyed the track. It's quite an exciting track for a qualifying lap because you get the tires quite low on the outlap. But I don't like it as much as some other tracks because of the way the front left heats. It just gets really warm, and then after that happens, it's impossible to cool. But it's a fun track to drive, especially for hot laps, as you said.
Yeah, and Russia next week. What are your thoughts on that? Have you done many laps around there before on this game?
Yeah, I had a league race there yesterday, so that should help. But it's an underrated track. I think I quite enjoy it, and the only issue with it is how much run off road there is. It's so easy to pick up penalties. I think that'll be the name of the game next week.
Yeah, I reckon you're spot on. But we'll leave it there. Thank you for jumping in for a chat, and hopefully we're chatting to you next week. Congratulations on your P1 for holding your nerve against Alp closing you in. So well deserved P1, and we'll catch you next week, buddy.
Great, thank you.
And that should do us. I'll leave it to you to wrap things up.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Nicholas on that last note, where track limits are quite easy to exploit around there. Get a lot of penalties. We're back to where we were a few weeks ago in that matter, but we are in Sochi, of course, on the Black Sea in southern Russia, and should be fun. Typically puts on fun races, I would say, for video games at least. Perhaps not in real life, but it is interesting. And as always, well done to Nicholas, Alp, being the entire podium. Everyone really tonight. I really thought that was going to be a lot more chaotic, but it turned into a pretty enjoyable race from our point of views. But for Bod and the podium getters, we will see you then next week, same time, same place.